Good morning, everyone. This week's Torah portion, the Jewish people are ready to go free. And as the Jews are preparing to leave Egypt, the Torah says, Vayikach Moshe es atzmos Yosef imo. Moshe went to retrieve the bones, the casket of Joseph, to take it with him. Why? Because before Joseph had died, he promised, he made the Jewish people, when the time for the redemption comes, they will take his remains with them out of the land of Egypt for burial in the land of Israel. And so our rabbis say from here we see that a wise person will always pursue the mitzvah. While the rest of the Jewish nation were preoccupied with getting the gold and the silver from their Egyptian neighbors, Moshe Rabbeinu was going to retrieve the bones of Joseph for burial in the land of Israel. And indeed, the Jewish people carry the bones of Joseph throughout the 40 years in the desert until they bury him in Shechem in the land of Israel. However, the rabbis emphasize the key word in the verse, that Moshe went and took the bones of Joseph imo with him. The verse could have just said, he went and took the bones of Joseph. Why is there an emphasis, imo, with him? And the rabbis say we learn something very important here. And that is that the only thing we really take with us are the good deeds that we perform in this world. When all is said and done, we cannot take our material possessions with us. The gold and the silver that the Jewish people gathered before they left Egypt could not ultimately go with them. It could only go with them until the last day of their life, but not into the next world. However, the good deeds, those stay and remain for all of eternity. Those can never be taken from us. They are truly with us forever. This week, the world lost a great legendary trailblazer actor by the name of Sidney, who was the first black actor to win an Academy Award, an Oscar. He was also a tremendous activist for civil rights and just an extraordinary human being. And he tells a remarkable story. He was born prematurely in Miami. The doctors didn't even know if he would survive. Thank God he lived to 94. However, his parents moved back to the Bahamas. And until the age of 15, he lived in the Bahamas. However, he was taking a very negative path, and his parents were worried that he was going to assume a life of delinquency. And so what did they do? They decided to send him to live in Miami with his older brother. He arrived in Miami and he had a dream that he wants to be an actor, but he only had 2 years of formal schooling. So he went and tried out an acting performance a career, and he went for an audition, and he did so terribly that they literally threw him out because he barely knew how to read and he had a very thick Bohemian accent. So what could he do? He went and got a job as a dishwasher in a restaurant. He said one day there was an elderly Jewish man, and he told the story very often. He told it on 60 Minutes years ago. There was an elderly Jewish man who was a waiter in the restaurant. And he gets very emotional when he tells the story. The elderly Jewish man came up to him one day with a newspaper under his arm, took out the newspaper and handed it to the 16-year-old Bohemian boy. And he said, "Tell me something new in the paper." And Sidney looked at the Jewish waiter, this elderly Jewish waiter, and said, "I can't, because I can barely read English." And the Jewish waiter said to him, "Would you like to learn how to read English?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Would you like me to read with you?" He said, "Yes." And so he said that night, after the restaurant was all closed up and cleaned up, everyone had gone home. This elderly Jewish waiter sat down with him and started to teach him how to read by reading the newspaper with him. He said he did this night after night, week after week after week, until he finally taught him enough English that he was able to try again for an audition, ultimately not only becoming an actor, but becoming one of the most renowned, legendary black actors ever. That is the message of the word imo. The good we do in this world will live on forever. And therefore Moshe Rabbeinu teaches us what the rabbis say. Don't just pursue the gold and the silver. Pursue what really matters, that can make a true impact and lasting difference in the lives of others, and ultimately through them in the world around us. Have a wonderful day.